Hello everybody. Today I've gotten a lot of questions, comments, various things about inhaling the voice. Now what is inhaling the voice? Inalare la voce. Inalare la voce. What does it mean? How did that concept develop and what does it really mean? Well, it started with the candle flame and then it progressed to tissue paper. And we've seen, I think I've demonstrated this several times, but you practice with paper and you don't move the paper when you sing. So you deliberately use all of your, all the difficult consonant combinations you can think of. See, you know, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? The skunk sat on the stump and the skunk thunked that the stump stunk and the stump thunked that the skunk stunk. And you can do this with, tongue twisters, or you can just practice it with, with all kinds of words. Joe hit George in the jaw. Ba 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 gina, ba 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 gina. How are you today? I'm fine. To be or not to be, that is the question. And you practice until you don't leak. This was a very, very common, actually standard exercise for singers way back when, but with the candle flame. And then it progressed in some studios to using tissue or toilet paper. Toilet paper you can hang over your head like this and just let it hang there. I think I did a video on that already, and we talked about it. And I think we called it contrary motion. But the idea is you blow, you establish a degree of blow, and then you sort of imitate that, or you imagine that it's going inward, and you sing ah, ah, ah. Now inhaling the voice is as if I were really breathing in while I'm singing. And of course, it's not possible to do that. But I do think that I'm going to go, out would be ah, neutral would be ah, and in would be ah. So I'm going to try to inhale my voice, or at least have the feeling. You don't really inhale, but you have the feeling that you're inhaling. You feel like you have the feeling you're going while you're singing. So I go, la, and I used it many times in performances for some of the big things. You get a real big place, a big hairy moment, and I remember Meister Singer, at the end, der lieblich als Bild, das muss mehr, weil so heilig ist als Bild, war kühn von mir befreit, am lichten Tag der Sonne, and so weiter, and so forth. If I think, what's the difference between using the breath stop and not leaking, and inhaling my voice? It really boils down to using more voice and a bigger phonation, but still not leaking. So if I go out, ah, in, ah, out, ah, in, ah, out, ah, in, ah, right? You never, ever sing out. You never sing the breath out. You never move the breath. You're always doing a down bow and no up bow. One of the problems with being out of place and singing the false mask in the middle registers, when you come to a high note, you have to shoot air because you have no room for the high note. There's no room there. So I'm going to have to do and use vowel modification. And when I do, I have to change my emission. And I'm using my breath for that. Well, in the old days, you had several rules. One rule was no action in the throat, so it's already wrong. Number two was no change of emission. You're not allowed to do this. That's against the rules of bel canto. So I go, no action in the throat. Now I can't sing unless I inhale the tone. So I go, so I didn't change my throat, no action in my throat, and I did not change my emission. I'm only in one down bow. And I'm imagining the whole time that I'm singing inward. And this is it's not a technique that I recommend for young singers unless I'm sitting right there on top of them, making sure that they don't change their emission. because when you relax your throat completely, the throat becomes vulnerable. You've got there's nothing holding it in place. There's nothing to protect the throat, so to speak. So I'm going to breathe way down my lower back. And then I'm going to see what happens to my diaphragm if I inhale the tone. Ah, 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 ah. See what it's doing? Ah. Now I have a whole series of instigators that I've learned from great singers along the way. I didn't invent them. I didn't create them, right? I learned, I could tell you each singer I learned these from. But one was lip clamp. It's not an M or a hum. It's not and it's not it's not or because that puts me in my nose. That we don't want. But a lip clamp goes and you press your lips together and go and that's way up here above my nose, up in the true mask. So if you watch what happens down here, every one of those instigators moves this. No, there's a lip trill. Look at my diaphragm. Some people can't do that one. It depends on their language, how they speak, and so forth. And it's almost if you can teach them how to do it and get them to do it, it's a good exercise, but not a bad. But I go. See now, singing by inhaling my voice is. And I'm imagining that I'm now drawing the tone in and down into my lower back, and I go, look at what's happening. And I'm singing, believe it or not, psychologically, in my mind, I'm singing inward. See? And especially for sustaining or singing a high tessitura and maintaining that. See, Leonard en de ganen så glad, für mich so Freiheit, ins himmlische Reich, zur Freiheit, ins himmlische Reich, für mich so frei. In other words, you just keep going, and it counters any tendency. It neutralizes, really, a tendency. It equalizes and balances the tendency for your diaphragm to let go. It is a muscle, after all. If I hold a bucket of water this way, after a while, my arm gets tired, and my arm wants to do this. See? What really happens is we start doing this because we're still trying to hold it. Well, what happens to your diaphragm? Your diaphragm gets tired and strained, and you're having to sing some of this really, really difficult, very sustained music, right? I remember things like Damnation of Faust of Berlioz, where you have this monster, the Ode to Nature at the end, with huge orchestration, right? And you sing and you sing and you sing. And then all of a sudden you have to sing, I don't know what, a high B natural out of the blue. You have some of the lyric music like Rose Cavalier tenor, you know. You have old phrases like drink the tone in, right? Swallow the tone. Singing is inhaling. This lady named Choni in 1816 has been quoted ever since because she's the one that said the first time, singing is inhaling. She probably meant the way you inhale. But some people took that as actually trying to inhale the voice. And of course you can't really inhale and sing. Now, this has a negative side if you sing Italian music, which is if I'm going to try to continue the inhalation process and I do this, goes against the Italian school. The Italian school is So the Germans, because of their language and so many interruptions, developed the inhalation of the voice, and they did it by continuing the inhalation and then singing. So I go, So when I'm doing something like, Fidelio, which is very difficult, or Meister Singer, you're doing that, you're going like this, and you're sustaining, and it's so busy, and it just gets going, and you're up there hanging on for dear life. So you continue your inhalation. You go like this. A big danger with inalare la voce, inhaling the voice, is that your phonation will get too big. How do I say ah? Right? Dammi una tazza di caffè. Ah, vogliamo andare nella città per comprare qualche cosa stasera nella città. Ah. The Germans say ein, zwei, drei. The French say miroir, miroir, right? So we have to make sure that this chiaroscuro, this clear dark tone, the clarity of that bright ah doesn't get lost. If I sing the bright ah without any breath function, I get ah, and it's ugly and you can't say it, it puts it right in the nose. Some people use the ski slow tongue. Oh, and they have to modify the back of the throat to go to sound. They all sound like Jimmy Stewart, the actor, that talk like that, right? And it kills the high notes and usually puts people in a category that's lighter than they should be singing. What is your voice when you totally relax your throat? Look. See? I'm going to say, come stai? Ah. How are you today? It's so nice to see you. Stai. Then I take that normal phonation and I inhale it while I'm singing. So I go, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. Ein, zwei, drei. How are you today? Vogliamo andare nella città per comprare qualche cosa. And you're going to understand me every word I'm saying. I can say anything you want, any language you want. I do not have to suddenly do this to get the effect of inhaling the voice. When you hear people yawning or spreading the throat, they're spreading, not opening. The open throat is vertical. So I breathe, I go. And now my throat is open. If I do this, oh, I'm spreading my throat. I'm not opening my throat. You have to be careful if you use the singing while I'm still inhaling method. All of a sudden you've got an artificial phonation. And you can sing with it. A lot of people did sing with it. I sang the bass in college, right? That's the way I sang. Sang with a big, exaggerated phonation. Oh, like that. But you get a lot of that, people singing with a bigger phonation than they should use. And if they don't have deep breathing, they very often get a tremolo, especially sopranos. Sopranos get tremolos like crazy. Some tenors do too, but usually lighter tenors. So if I breathe, I can continue the inhalation. Right? Or I can breathe and then think, stai. How are you today? It's so nice to see you. Speak normally, see? And talk like that. Like that. Donna non vidi mai simile a questo, a dirle io t'amo. Shall I sing with a bigger phonation than that or not? A dirle io t'amo. Why? Would I talk about a girl that's made an impression on me? I met her, boy, I saw her, I thought she was really gorgeous. Oh, she was just fantastic. Is that the way we talk? All of you guys that want to do this, or all those teachers that want you to do that. Oh, right? Why would I do that? Think about it. Why would I put my head down like this and put my chin down like this and go? Why? When every great singer in history is singing with their head up. Look at Leonard Warren, man. Always with a smile on his face with his head up in the air. Had the biggest baritone voice I ever heard. You know? Look at the silent film of Caruso. He's like this, singing Pagliacci. Ah, look at Tito Schipa. He's like this. Montserrat Caballé sang with their head up. Pavarotti and Joan Sutherland both lean over like this. So that means they stood up straight. Their heads would be like this. Alfredo Kraus sing like this. I asked Alfredo Kraus, why do you sing with your head up and so far back? He said, because in Barcelona we have 8 balconies, man. And if you don't sing to the guys in the top balconies, nobody will yell bravo for you. So he did it as a crowd-pleasing trick. But it also means that if I throw my head back, I cannot use my throat at all. If I'm using my throat, oh, and I put my head back, and oh, and I choke instantly. But if I can get this not just absolutely invisible and don't use it and put it down and inhale my voice, I go, ah. muscles in my throat to hold my form, and I certainly don't do that. Ah, what does that do? Why would I do that? What language do you know of that is spoken on the planet Earth where they told are there? We used to make jokes with the children. You know, hi, I'm a wide-mouthed frog. What are you? You know. You say, vogliamo andare? Che cosa fare? Right? You say, how do you speak? To be or not to be? That is the question. Would I say to be or not to be? That is the question. Why in the world would anybody sing like that? So anyway, the danger is once you start using the inhaling the voice concept, the tendency is there to spread the phonation. And you want to make sure that you go high, and it's always a contrary motion. I've already done some work showing people this one, where you go well, if you continue that on down your spine and go you start getting a little more tone, a little fatter tone, a little darker tone. Sometimes you get a little more volume out of that because your megaphone is a little bit deeper. See? So if I'm singing, some kind of, bigger music, and I'm singing like that, right? If I inhale, I go, willst du mich verderben? If I need to explode a note once in a while, sing a big note for a big effect or something, I can inhale it. But singers said, if I can also do it in lyric music. Una furtiva lagrima negli occhi suoi spunto. How much do I inhale then when I do that? So the truth is, if the diaphragm activates and you don't leak air, and you can keep the air from leaking, there are a couple of dangers. One is you may end up with a spread phonation, and the other is you'll end up doing a kind of an inhalation technique down here. And is that the best technique to sing any language that is continuous, like Italian everything's run together and it has like one sound. It's great for German sometimes because German's interrupted. So leader singers, I've taught lots of concert singers to do this. Ich hört ein Bächlein rauschen wohl aus dem Felsenquell, hinab zum Tale rauschen so frisch und wunderhell. But is that the way I should sing if I'm going to sing, whatever, La Boheme or Carmen or something? See, I go like that. It's one way to make the voice sound sort of fatter and bigger. You lose some clarity, you lose some of the chiaro in your bright, dark, chiaroscuro, perfectly balanced tone. It's going to get a little bit dominated by the bigger phonation. And I go, if I breathe and try to watch my phonation to keep it clear, I go, Carmen, de te moquis de moi. So I can inhale the voice with very clear, normal phonation. I do not need to sing, And I never could find, frankly, where the advantage to that is? Sometimes impressing somebody who doesn't know anything. Or impressing people maybe in an audition when they're looking for some heavier part. They're trying to cast a heavier role, and it's a role you probably shouldn't be singing anyway, right? If you sing Otello's entrance, it's very dramatic. Well, that might be useful to be able to inhale the tone. See? If I go, and I use a preset and go, Esultate, l'orgoglio musulmano sepolto in mar. All of a sudden, my voice has gone back to being a lyric tenor, a lyrical spinto tenor, and nobody thinks I'm a dramatic tenor anymore. But I can fool them. If I can suck in and get a bigger phonation, and they hear that darkness, they think, oh, Helden tenor. And I will confess that I have used some I have used it at times, and it can be a problem if you have a big success sometimes in one of these bigger roles. Then everybody starts coming in and they start thinking of you as being that kind of tenor, or that kind of singer, I should say, and you know that category. And you really shouldn't be so classified as in one of the heavier categories unless your natural voice, your natural I've got a student in Germany, and he says he's a big tenor. Sounds like a huge tenor, and when he goes the whole room vibrates. He goes, it sounds like oh. And the only other person I ever heard that did that was Laus Melchior. Had this fantastic voice, and a lot of the great singers would keep the voice very light like this and talk like this all the time. And then when they open their mouths, they'd inhale the voice and go, oh, and you say, whoa, what happened? Where's that? That's that little speaking voice they were using before. See? And then it's just plain wrong. I heard Franco Corelli sing La Boheme, and it was almost funny because he had such a great voice. But he said to me, give me your arm. And me, he said, dammi il braccio mia piccina. And he was singing, he was going, dammi il braccio mia piccina. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is Otello taking me out for an ice cream. I mean, really. Best I ever heard that was Jussi Björling, who would intensify his voice sometimes. Once when he'd sharp a little bit, sing a little bit sharp from all the pressure, but he never spread his phonation. And I had 3 lessons with him one time, and he couldn't explain anything. But he was great to sort of observe and watch the way he sang. He would sing inward, and he would sing his lyric music on the inhale the voice technique. Einsam wanderte ich in Frühlingsgarten. And that type of leader singing is better to go ahead and create the attack on the inhalation and go, Einsam wanderte ich in Frühlingsgarten. In other words, to constantly keep those muscles inhaling. The Italian school is you breathe and either use either preset or some way of leaning the voice on the diaphragm. You do not continue the inhalation. In fact, Caruso said in his book, never sing while you're still inhaling. It's not the Italian school. I go, Caruso said contrary motion. But if you're doing the inhale the voice technique, you are continuing the motion. So you're going, there's no contrary motion. You're in the same motion you were in when you were inhaling. See? The others. And one works really great for German where you have to enunciate in front of words that begin with vowels all the time. There's a lot of interruption. Ich hört ein Bächlein, right? Ich fänd es in höchster Not. Ich fänd es. You can't say fänd es. You can't say fänd es in German. It's not German. Ich fänd es in höchster Not. Waffenlos fiel ich in Feindes Haus. Right? And so you have to learn to sing this, German especially, for us, for the Westerners, West Europeans and Americans and stuff over here on this side. We don't get exposed to, we don't sing as much Russian. Those of you that sing Russian songs, the Russian leader, I admire you because it's very difficult. Which technique do you use and which breathing technique do you use? You really need some very experienced teacher to listen to you and say, you know what, the kind of voice you have, I had a fellow using the ski slope, and he was this tall, a great big man. He walks in and goes, ha, and I thought, that just can't be right, man. Relax your tongue and take a breath. And all of a sudden we were, and I thought, wait a minute. Now we better teach him the appoggio method, the leaning method. Because that voice was a great big voice. Of course, he ended up singing Radames and Aida and great big parts like that. But that ski slow business had him going, like that, right? And then you have raise the salt palate and keep a cup in your tongue. And everybody ends up as some kind of a lyric baritone singing German. Right? So these ways of breathing and of thinking about things, as Buddha said, right thinking, right doing, right being. You want to be the right thing, you got to do the right thing. You want to do the right thing, you got to think the right thing. Which way of thinking is best for you? And I don't know unless I hear you, and even then it'll just be my opinion, because you'll have to live with whatever we decide will be the best one. I can do them all, see? But if I sing Italian and I inhale my voice and I go, in van nascondo la mia vera tortura. In other words, I'm using the inhalation technique the whole time. If I did an arpeggio, I'd go, so I would go, if you get them right, they sound very similar, but some people prefer a little bit rounder color that they use. But basically, I think we all end up singing the way we've been programmed to sing. And if you get a good teacher, you're very lucky. If you get someone that says, you know, the old rules used to be simple. No action in the throat, absolute invisible jaw, tongue, and throat, and nothing from the neck up. See? And smile. This, you know, they asked Nicola Ghetto, why do you keep that grimace on your face all the time? You always sound like this. And he said, what do you mean grimace? I'm opening my throat. That was his open throat. And he did that and had a very, very long career, never had a vocal problem. Some singers nowadays, they do this. And they're all losing their voices very young. They're in constant vocal trouble, bleeding arteries in the throat, and or career enders. They're shutting down, or having to have surgeries. You know, remember, nothing goes through your throat but air. And if you want to sing, don't let the air come up and hit you in the throat. And one good thing about the inhalation technique is the air does not come up and hit you in the throat. See, your biggest danger will be your phonation. See, I'm going for a high note. Shall I do that? Or shall I go, it is so nice to be here. Why can't I just inhale normal speech phonation? Very important that everybody learn to speak these languages, especially Italian. It is the language of the sing. But, you know, babies go, They don't go, oh. It's so unnatural. There's nothing natural about this. And Pavarotti said he learned to sing by watching his 3 babies. Said the way they laughed and cried, that's the way he wanted to sing. So he gets up and he sings like that. You know? He sings, che bella cosa. You listen to him, compared to the other tenors. You know, Domingo's going, like that. And Carreras is going, la. And watch Pavarotti get up and do, che bella cosa. And he always sang, alla paterna mano. He didn't go, oh. No, there's no great singer historically who did this. No. And the ones that are doing it are losing their voices. All right, so I hope that'll help clear up some of this inhaling the voice technique. It's all imagination, and it really does depend a lot on the imagination of the individual singer. If the singer is a very, very straightforward, kind of simple kind of person, they probably shouldn't mess with all of this stuff that requires an imaginary state of mind. If I'm doing this kind of thing, la 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 la, it's pretty simple. I'm either moving the paper or I'm not, and that's probably the best way to train, especially young singers. But older singers who have great imagination, you can use different ideas, and maybe, you know, squeeze out a few more overtones, which doesn't hurt anything if they have them. But you must never resort to anything that might be damaging to the voice. And if, you know, in June this year, I'll be 80 years old in March, and in June I will have been teaching 60 years. So in 60 years you hear a lot of ideas and a lot of things, and you watch your colleagues. I've sung 62 roles myself. I'm still singing after all these years. Got some old geezer tones. The voice is still good. They asked the old singer, how are you? And he says, the voice is good, but the legs. And that's really what happens. Like, everything gets old except the voice. And the voice needs the rest of the apparatus to support it. So, but I still have fun. So, why not? That's why we sing. Okay. I hope that helps. Bye.